Ahoy and welcome, crew, to Riftbound Summoner Skirmish April. Today we have Jordan versus Cade. Jordan playing the victor here, getting things started. Gonna tap his legend to play Recruit to base. Bringing out the Treasure Hoard battlefield. When you conquer here, you may exhaust a rune in order to get a gold token exhausted. Cade is going to play the Zon Warrens with Annie. When you conquer here, you discard one and draw one. Cade starting off his turn with stacked deck. Gonna dig a little bit deeper here. And looks like Overzealous Fan coming down to the battlefield. Passing turn, gonna ready his runes. Back over to Jordan. So yeah, both these guys, pretty decent players. I think they're pretty good pilots, navigators on these decks, so this is going to be a pretty fast game one, I think. Even though it goes fast, I think there's pretty decent skill expression here. Good plays for both of them, so yeah, let's get into it, see what happens here. Jordan's going to move up into the Treasure Hoard, start his next turn here, score his first point. He will take the battlefield trigger, and make a gold token. And using the rest of his runes to play a Faithful Manufacturer. When you play me, you may play a 1 Might Recruit token to base, or here as well, since he's playing it to base. Very excited to be back here with you. It's been far too long since I've been able to cast a match. Life's been busy. My daughter, my 2-year-old, she is at that age demanding all my attention all the time, and I love it. I would apologize for not getting this out a little bit sooner, but I'm not going to apologize for spending time with family. That's, I think, one of the most important things in life, and if you're not doing that, you should be spending some time with your family, you bet. Captain Dad, going to promote the family time. Cade moving up Overzealous Fan into the Treasure Hoard. He will conquer there. Moves up his sneaky deckhand to start off his turn into the open battlefield. So he does conquer both of them, scores 2 points. Passes it back over to Jordan. Yeah, and then we also went to Atlanta here in the last week or so as well. So life's been busy, family, a couple of vlogs and videos coming out with that. If you haven't seen those, go check out the channel. Jordan playing Wages of Pain, deal 3 to a battlefield. He's gonna get a gold unit if it works. And Cade plays the Hard Bargain. Jordan unable to kill that Overzealous Fan, meaning that Cade will be able to protect that battlefield at least a little bit. Jordan playing down the Xin Zhao, tank. I enter ready if you have 2 or more units in your base. Triggering the ready, so he will enter a pseudo accelerated. Moving up the first unit, we will trigger the Overzealous Fan and put the unit back at base. Misplay there, Victor player putting it in the discard pile, killing the unit instead of moving it back to base. Hopefully that doesn't come back to bite him. Moving up over Xin Zhao into Zon Warrens, he will trigger that battlefield, conquering. Looks like Cade might have a Ride the Wind in hand. Looks like Darius and second Ride the Wind. So a little bit of movement play in Cade's hand, not much interaction to deal damage at the moment. Jordan, on the other hand, looks like he's got a Wages of Pain in his hands. Imperial Decree also, Bellows Breath, and Glask. Mixologist, I believe, is what I see there. Passing it back over to Cade. Looks like he top deck a Ferris Forerunner. Gonna play that straight to base, just recover a little bit in the last turn. Looks like he top deck a Ferris Forerunner. Gonna play that straight to base, just recover a little bit in the last turn. Jordan starting off his turn, gonna score a couple of points, go up to 5, really quick and easy. Already halfway over there. Moves Xin Zhao back to base, moves the Recruit token back to base. Gonna play Protection a little bit here. With enough tempo, I like that. That Ferris Forerunner is going to be a bigger might than anything that he can represent on board without a combat trick, so might as well save the interaction to a point where it's better suited for you as the attacker. 5, looks like 5 runes exhausted, using a yellow power, playing the Glask Mixologist base. That does have Death Knell when you play a unit. You may play a unit from your trash when that thing dies. You still have to pay its power cost, of course. Passing it back over to Cade now. Cade's going to move the Ferris Forerunner into the Zon Warrens to get his turn started. Scoring up to 3 points, triggering a discard. Looks like we're drawing another sneaky deckhand and stack deck for the beginning of this turn. So we got some options for Cade. He's not completely out of this here, although he is stirring a little bit of unit disparity on the board right now. Paying 3 to exhaust for a sneaky deckhand, scoring another quick cheeky point for the Puffin Man. Sneaky deckhand, nice little pirate doing some work for us. Big fan of anybody from Bilgewater on this channel here. Darius Treferian coming down to base. And I think technically he would have entered ready there, but since he's going to play him at the base, it doesn't look like he wants to reinforce any of those battlefields at the moment. The ready Darius shouldn't matter too much, I believe, in this case. Passing it back over to Jordan. Got Xin Zhao, Glass Mycologist, a couple of recruit tokens on the board. We know he's got a few damage spells and that Imperial Decree in hand, so he can take care of the units that he needs to with relative ease, trading these tokens away. Xin Zhao going to be moved up into the first battlefield, fighting the sneaky deckhand. 4 might to 2 might in the Treasure Hoard battlefield. Puffin Man, we know he's only got the Ride the Wind here. Cade only got the Ride the Winds and the stack deck, so it doesn't seem very worth to try to keep the sneaky deckhand alive when you can interact with a Ferris Forerunner or possibly a Darius instead. I think we're going to probably strategically just let this one go if we're Cade. And he does decide to let that one go. I think that's the right play here. Again, limited cards hand size, so we kind of got to just let Jordan play some tempo back in order to maintain our own board as Cade. Jordan going to exhaust 5 runes, paying 2 yellow power as well here. Imperial Decree coming down. When any unit takes damage this turn, kill it. That will, as we spoke earlier, allow him to trade in these recruits pretty easily. First recruit comes into the Zon Warren's battlefield fighting the Ferris Forerunner. 1 might for one of the biggest units in the game. Biggest threats in the game, most popular units in the game right now, I'd say. Cade looks like he will make a move on this turn here. Ride the Wind over to the other battlefield. Surprising. I wonder why he wouldn't want to move him to base. The Imperial Decree is on the battlefield, so the best we're going to do here is trade with the Xin Zhao. I guess that's not terrible, but I feel like keeping the might on the board one more time would be better than having 2 smaller units of equal might. I don't know. I'm not an Annie player. And obviously I'm not here playing, so we're going to let Cade see what he decides to do, if that's the right decision. Jordan will conquer that first battlefield that we spoke of, Zon Warren's, triggering the discard draw there, scoring 7 points. Moving into the second showdown here. Wages of Pain comes down on Ferris Forerunner. Again, Imperial Decree still active this turn, so Ferris Runner is going to go down with only 3 damage. Jordan will get his gold token and following up with a Bellows Breath. If he repeats it, he'll be able to hit everything, clearing off the board for Cade. GG Jordan, good job guys. Let's move on to game 2. We are back here. It is game 2. We got Jordan versus Cade, Viktor versus Annie. Viktor bringing out the Void Gate battlefield in this game. Annie bringing out the arena's greatest. Annie on the play this turn. Going up 1 point for the battlefield, playing Traveling Merchant. Cade's going to get his turn started. Let's not forget our draw step there. Looks like you got a Flash, a Darius, another Ride the Wind. Getting things started off for Cade. And a stack deck as well. Looks like we're flashing us. Yeah, good hand size. Decent hand. Moving over to Jordan. Jordan's going to play his Faithful Manufacturer on his first turn here, getting the recruit token off of that unit trigger. Passes it back over to Cade. 1-1 again for the battlefields. Traveling Merchant's going to move up into Arena's Greatest. We will trigger that move discard. Kaisa, red Kaisa being drawn for Cade on this turn here. Not quite sure what he wants to discard. Looks like stack deck going down. And Kaisa coming down to the battlefield. Passing it back, he'll just ready the 2 runes there. Tide Turner picked up on that discard draw trigger from the Traveling Merchant. Moving back over here to Jordan. 5 runes available for this turn. So we've got Wages of Pain, Coal, Bellows Breath, Xin Zhao, and Hidden Blade in his hand. So this spell's very, very spell heavy in this deck for Jordan. Not quite all spells, but very, very spell heavy. He is playing the yellow Viktor. Didn't even see Viktor come out that first game, but starting off the turn here, Wages of Pain going to play down on the Traveling Merchant. That will deal the 3 damage, killing the Traveling Merchant and giving him a gold token if it goes through. We know Cade doesn't have any hard counter this time, hard bargain, so Flash will be played though. That will allow him to save the unit. The gold token is a separate line of text though, so trigger separately even if the unit is not at the battlefield any longer. When the move happens, we will discard the Tide Turner for Cade, draw another card for him. Looks like Ferris Forerunner picked up on that draw. Yeah, I gotta compliment myself here. Got a pretty decent angle with the camera this time to be able to see both players' hands and the board really well. Been working on trying to clean up this layout even further, make it a better, enjoyable experience for everybody. That way you can pick up what's going on no matter where you tune in on these games. First battlefield will be conquered by the recruit token up on that Void Gate for Jordan. Ties up the game 2-2. Faithful Manufacturer will be moved into Arena's Greatest, scoring the 3rd point. Jordan already taking a quick little tempo lead here. Even though he did go second, he's got that 3rd point already first. Looks like he's probably going to finish up his turn here with the Viktor Recruit token and hiding a card. Passing back over to Cade. We do have that Traveling Merchant saved from the Flash from this last turn. Kaisa will be able to attack in. Hopefully be able to draw a card as long as she stays alive. He does get the conquer point. We see that hard bargain picked up there for Cade, so he does have it. Kaisa moving in first, actually, instead of the Traveling Merchant. Starting the combat showdown here into the Arena's Greatest, passing priority back over to Jordan. He will let that one go through. Kaisa scoring the point, 3-3. Kaisa trigger drawing a card for him. Looks like another Tide Turner picked up for Cade. And move trigger going on the stack with the Traveling Merchant. Second Tide Turner discarded. And a second Traveling Merchant picked up off of that draw. Hidden Blade being revealed. Looks like he is targeting his own recruit token for a double draw. Jordan picking up a couple extra cards at the expense of giving up point for Cade there. Traveling Merchant scoring the 4th point, 4-3. And Ferris Forerunner coming down to the Arena's Greatest to back up the Kaisa. Try to keep her alive a little bit. I like that. I like that. Anything you can do to keep her alive and conquering, scoring points, drawing cards, good for you. Cade got a lot better tempo, much better tempo, board presence this game, I'd say. Up a point, staring at 1 recruit might back, feels pretty good, I'd say. Although, you know, it only takes 1 turn for Jordan to be able to play an Imperial Decree and a Bellows Breath. That was a great combo last game. Six energy being consumed here, it looks like. 2 power. Riptide Rex coming down to the base. When you play me, deal 6 damage to an enemy unit at a battlefield. And he is targeting the Ferris Forerunner. Ferris Forerunner gonna die, triggering the 2 mech tokens back to base. And passes it back over to Cade. Taking a turn off here for Jordan. Gonna have to redevelop that board after Cade did a decent job of accelerating over with the, with fighting over with might onto his token and Faithful Manufacturer. Switcheroo picked up for Cade on this turn. Moves up to 6 points at the beginning of this turn for the double hold. I'd say, playing just a couple of units or playing units down, get the might down is always a good idea here. But, Darius being able to be accelerated with a second spell is just fine to keep in your hand as well for Cade. Moves the Traveling Merchant back to get the quick discard and draw a trigger. Moving Kaisa back. Sitting at 6, that's definitely the right play to move there for Cade. Keep it protected as best you can, that is. Looks like Darius will come down to back up that base. Again, like I said at the beginning of this turn here, it's not a bad play just to throw him down, have some might. We will be ready next turn already, so you'll be able to do whatever you need to do. In addition to playing multiple spells. Ready in 2 runes at the end of the turn. Puffin Man's going to pass it back over there to Jordan here. Jordan staring at open battlefields, allowing him to conquer back in, to hold at least one of them, hopefully, to prevent a double conquer on the next turn for Cade. We know he's got a Xin Zhao and a bunch of damage spells and a couple of kill spells, so how he plays this will be really tricky. He's got to navigate some pretty tricky waters here if he wants to find some sort of victory through this game. I mean, we can see it with all information here, so I don't really see a world that Jordan can get around Switcheroo, Hard Bargain, and Ride the Wind. Not with the board might that he's showing right at the moment. Xin Zhao will come down readied, since there are 2 other units at the base. Riptide Rex going to move into Arena's Greatest for the first point, moving Jordan up to 4. And, if it's me, I almost feel like it's a, move token into second battlefield, reinforce with Xin Zhao.
Almost picked that one up.
Not quite sure what he does here. He is playing with the Xin Zhao. Will he reinforce or decide to conquer? Nope, deciding to play a spell here possibly instead. 3 runes exhausted, paying a yellow power for this one. Xin Zhao number 2 actually. 2 units still in base, so he will enter ready as well. Deciding to move up both Xin Zhaos into Void Gate. Again, I'm not 100% sure I back this one here from you, Jordan. I think that it's best if you're in this situation to throw all your units on one battlefield and throw that little recruit over there, because he's going to be able to take one of the battlefields no matter what. I mean, honestly, I feel like you're kind of dead in the water with only 1 rune available. Knowing that he's this far ahead. Ride the Wind coming down for Cade. Token will move up into the battlefield. And Switcheroo being played in the showdown. So we're going to swap the mites for the 3 to 6 on the Riptide Rex with the mech token. First showdown is going to complete. We will score 5 points for Jordan on the first battlefield. Showdown is going to start in the second battlefield here. Again, with that switcheroo already going off, that was available to be played in the first showdown when the Xin Zhao conquered in that battlefield, so that's why we didn't have to wait for this showdown. With 1 might, Stupefy is not really going to do much here. I think that's going to allow Cade to get this cheeky little win, actually. Yeah, he will score that 7th point. Jordan's going to pass this game. Let's go to game 3. Captain Dad here. If you're into Riftbound, TCGs like Magic, One Piece, and other tabletops, come on down to CollectGG. Located at 3435 30th Avenue North, St. Petersburg, Florida, we have cases of singles, packs, anything you could possibly need for TCGs and tabletops. Paintings, miniatures, board games of all kinds. This is your Captain's LGS. If you get a chance, come on down. Tell them the captain sent you. Welcome back to Game 3. We are here. Lionhead versus the Puffin Man. Jordan versus Cade. Coming down to silver scrapes in this first top 8 match. Jordan will get to go first this game as he lost the last game. Both players deciding on their mulligans at the moment. It's been an epic first couple of games. The first one's gone kind of quick. I think this one's going to take a little bit more time, so buckle in. Thanks for hanging out today. Jordan's going to start off the turn here. Legend ability, proccing the recruit token to come to base. Passing it back over to Cade. Cade picking up a, looks like traveling merchant there on that draw. We've got a sneaky deckhand in hand. Probably an easy point coming down for him there. You bet. Sneaky deckhand down to the Candlelight Sanctum. To Candlelight Sanctum trigger 2 cards. You may look at them and decide if you want to recycle one or both of them. Or put them back on top. One on top, one on bottom. Cade going up the quick easy point there for the sneaky deckhand play. Jordan's going to start his turn off here with the recruit token in base. Probably going to move that up into the Ravenbloom Conservatory. There we go, you bet. 1-1 here starting off this turn. Ravenbloom Conservatory, one of our new battlefields from Spirit Forged here. When you defend here, you may look at the top card of your main deck, and if it's a spell, you may put it in your hand, otherwise recycle it. Honest Broker coming down to the base. Death Knell trigger on Honest Broker. I believe you get a gold token for this one. And a second recruit token going to come to base off the Legend ability. 1 mana available here, 1 rune, excuse me. We see a Stupefy, we got Wages, and hiding the Wages of Pain onto the battlefield, the Conservatory battlefield. Bellows Breath, it looks like. Stupefy. Hidden Blade. Can't quite tell. It looks like possibly 2 Bellows Breath. Is that what Jordan has in hand there? Cade starting off his turn here, readying up the sneaky deckhand, scoring the 2nd point for his turn. We got a stacked deck, it looks like, in Cade's hand here. See a Darius. Looks like, again, that traveling merchant that we picked up at the beginning of the turn, last turn. And against all odds, is that what I see there? Kaisa in the back of the hand, so she's going to come down accelerated. Trigger for the Ravenbloom battlefield when Kaisa comes in. And Wages of Pain going to be revealed. There we go, a little buried treasure for Jordan here in order for him to trade a recruit token with Kaisa. Feels really good. Preventing the point. Preventing the draw, that's a great little play for Jordan there. Cade spending the entire turn to play Kaisa only to see her die doesn't feel great, but we do again have that point tempo with the sneaky deckhand holding out on the Candlelight Sanctum. Jordan moving up the first point. 2nd point going to be moved up into by the Honest Broker. Stupefy being played on sneaky deckhand. And against the odds being played by Cade. Give a friendly unit +2 for each enemy unit. Effectively giving the Sneaky Deckhand 4 might. That will allow Sneaky Deckhand to stay alive if we don't see any other interaction or fight back from Jordan here. Doesn't feel super great. Doesn't feel terrible though, getting a gold token and clearing off Cade's board if he does trade here. Gold token being used, Bellows Breath will be played in order to trade the units. Gold token also being recruited by the Bellows Breath spell as well. Card Sharp coming down to the base for Jordan, another gold token this turn. Triggering over to Cade, does he want to have a gold token? Looks like he will say yes to this trigger, taking gold token himself, moving up Jordan to 3 gold tokens. Maybe he feels like he needs that, but I know staring across that for Cade doesn't got to be feeling good. 3 gold tokens. Oh, so much power available there for Jordan. Darius coming down this turn for Cade. 1 mana available here, 1 rune available. Stack deck being played. That will trigger the Darius. Very good. Darius going to move up to 7 might and get ready. Stack deck going to allow Cade to dig a little bit deeper here, find some answers. Can assume that Darius should be good for at least a turn or 2. Versus a card sharp without interaction, that is. Darius moving up into the battlefield, triggering Ravenbloom. No spell, unfortunately, revealed there for Jordan, so we're going to lose that battle. Cade's going to go up to 3 points to 2, and Darius will successfully conquer into Ravenbloom. Passing it back, ready in the 2 runes for Cade. Jordan's going to start his turn here. 3 tokens of treasure. This guy's like a pirate over here with all this treasure. I like it. Captain Dad approved. Singularity in hand, Thousand Tail Watcher, Hidden Blade. Jordan actually has got his late game here. It looks like Singularity, possibly a sideboard maybe that he brought in. I haven't seen that the first 2 matches. Coming down, actually, being played for a single unit trade on the Darius. I don't know how I feel about that. I like to get my value for cards personally. If there's not 2 units on the board, I'm not going to play a Singularity. I don't know if it's worth it that early in the game personally. Just me personally speaking. But, you know, again, I don't play these decks. These are the top 8 players in this Summoner Skirmish here, so they are well qualified to be making their decisions. Scoring that card sharp into that battlefield, we will go 3 to 3, passing it back over to Cade. Cade got the Traveling Merchant that we've seen for the last few turns. Looks like he's picked up a Tide Turner and maybe a second Darius also in hand. A couple of big units, a couple of small units. Could play Darius and a smaller unit to get a quick accelerate. As Jordan is fully exhausted, it's not a bad idea to try to conquer back in. He could just set up this turn, play a Ferris Forerunner in a small unit. And looks like the latter decision will be what Cade's line is for this turn. Traveling Merchant coming down right after Ferris Forerunner, passing turn, readying 2 runes. Jordan's will hold on this point on the Ravenbloom. Conservatory with the card sharp, going up to 4. Taking back that point tempo here for the second time this game. Moving up Recruit Token into Candlelight Sanctum, start the turn. Scoring a quick 5 points. We get a look at the first top 2, vision the top 2. And, well, what do you know? Imperial Decree times 2. I wonder what he'll decide. Does he keep both of them up here? You know, he's got damage spells, he's got some tokens. I think you only really need 1. Yeah, 1-1 split. 1 goes to the bottom, 1 goes to the top. That's got to feel pretty good knowing you've got that. Thousand Tail Watcher. Honestly, all of a sudden, Cade's board doesn't seem that big anymore. Faithful Manufacturer coming down to base, triggering an extra recruit token. And, you know, if Cade can find some interaction, some spells, he'll feel a little bit better. Staring with only units in hand is a rough feeling, I know from experience. If you draw all spells or all units, this can feel kind of one-sided sometimes. Granted, if all your units are good and drawing cards and making more units, that's not always a bad thing. So, hopefully Cade isn't too far out of this and draws more interaction to be able to combat these next few turns that Jordan's going to be able to present. Jordan deciding Glass Mixologist will be the best turn to reinforce his recruit token on Candlelit. Death Knell trigger allowing him to bring back a unit. And actually, I think I said earlier that it might bring back any unit you still have to pay its power cost. But that's not true. It brings back a unit with 3 or less might, and you don't have to pay its power costs or any costs associated to it. Passing back over here to Cade. Looks like he picked up another Tide Turner. Oh, that's not what we need right now, but we can do some shenanigans with, you know, playing with the points, conquering in, and bouncing back out with some Tide Turners. Ferris Forerunner going to attack into Ravenbloom Conservatory and trigger the spell that we knew was at the top of the deck there. Imperial Decree going to go back into Jordan's hand. And the hidden card also available here for Jordan to play. You bet. Hidden Blade going to be played down on his own card shark. And he will draw 2 more cards. Ferris Forerunner attacks into and completes the showdown. That will trigger a point, if we want to say a trigger at all. And yeah, not feeling super great with just a couple of Tide Turners in hand with a Darius here. You know, as Jordan is tapped out, it's not maybe necessarily a bad play to, you know, double cast units and attack into that battlefield. You let him get his trigger. You'll hit a card shark, probably, I believe is what he's got as far as a unit in his graveyard there. Discard pile. Oh no, I misspoke. That's actually a Ride the Wind. That is not 2 Tide Turners. So we've got some trickery here. He's not completely out of this yet. 5-4 the score here. Lionhead, Jordan in the lead right now. And yeah, playing the Annie unit. That's not a terrible idea either. Play her out, get a spell back in hand. I think you've got Against the Odds or Stacked Deck to choose from. Doesn't feel super great for options, but she is a nice little body. That will trigger the Darius. Annie comes into play. Cade gonna take a moment here to decide what he wants to get back from the Annie trigger first. And Against the Odds, going to come back to hand. Moving Darius into Candlelight Sanctum, we will have a 7 might represented. He's tapped out, so we know that he will conquer that one pretty easily. Trigger Gas Mixologist, card sharp, like we spoke earlier. He's going to come back into play, trigger Gold token. Cade refusing his token, so only 1 token coming down for a card sharp. Darius will trigger Battlefield 5-5. 1 on top, 1 on bottom, the split for Cade on this decision for Sanctum. Moving up, Traveling Merchant, we will get a discard trigger. And discarding Against the Odds. I don't know how I feel about that, honestly. Maybe he's deciding that the Tide Turner is worth more here, and the Ride the Wind higher priority. I mean, honestly, Against the Odds doesn't feel super great if he's got Imperial Decree. Let's be real. You know, he can just tag your units for a token a piece, and you know he's got it since he had to reveal it. So, honestly, at this point for Cade, it's looking pretty disparaging, I'd say. Doesn't feel terrible knowing that you got to face that. He's got his trump card in hand. Jordan gonna start off his turn here. Nothing on the board for scoring points, but plenty on the board in base. Plenty of interaction in his hands. He's got 6 cards in hand, so yeah, I can't see a world in which Jordan doesn't pull this one out, honestly. We're gonna get this turn started off with a Imperial Decree. And just as in first game, I think we're going to get some efficient trading now that the Imperial Decree has been played. Jordan doing a great job of fully navigating this match here. Not just playing for the first turn, but 2 or 3 turns in advance. First token comes in, trades for Annie. Excuse me, trades for Darius, Annie at base. She is unavailable to be targeted at the moment. Second recruit's going to come into Ravenbloom Conservatory. Technically, we should have a defense trigger here going on the stack for Cade. Let's see if he remembers that or not. Should look at reveal the top card if it's a spell. Looks like we're gonna miss that defense trigger. We will reverse the units though. Little Uno trade card here with the Tide Turner being played up. Swapping places. Big unit for a small unit. I mean, it feels better than trading the 1 might unit for a 6 might unit, but Card Shark gonna come into this battlefield here to clean up that Ferris Forerunner regardless. See, again, I almost wonder, you know, do we not try to play a Ride the Wind possibly there and keep our Ferris alive? Nah. Instead, we're going to let it go through. Jordan's going to move in here with the Faithful Manufacturer to Candlelit Sanctum. Looks like he's playing the Ride the Wind here. There we go. Okay, so he wants to get a little bit of value on that, scoring a couple points here. If we can, get around this Faithful Manufacturer and any spells that Lionhead might have, then we might have a chance. But first showdown is going to go through. Scores 6 points for Jordan, triggering the Candlelit. We will go the first 2 cards, study if he wants to keep them on top or not.
It's a secret.
No, you should tell me because I want to say exactly the same.
Oh, really? You want it? I'll tell you because.
Would that be so funny though?
Well, we got a few minutes here. If you made it this far, I want to say thank you for hanging out with me today. Big shout out to CollectGG. This is my local game store, my personal closest local game store. I consider all LGSs here in my, general area of St. Pete, Tampa, LGSs, but this is the one that I live closest to and I probably frequent the most. So big thanks and shout out to CollectGG for letting me come in today, do some videos. Big shout out to these players. At this point, most of these guys are people who I would consider friends. If you play Riftbound in general, I'm going to call you a friend. So thank you guys for letting me record these matches. Really appreciate your time and energy today. Congratulations making top 8. Awesome play mats, by the way. We got the custom, we got the cool Timos and the Darius. Jordan really considering his options here on this as it's coming down to 6-6 on this turn. Token coming down to reinforce the battlefield for the legend. Using the rest of his runes, we will use Viktor Leader to actually back up the Candlelit Sanctum, trying to prevent a double conquer and a win from Cade this turn. Cade unfortunately picking up a Vi. Oh no. If we had her last turn, we already used the Ride the Wind. The irony of the situation. He's still got a unit to play down. He can move everything up into that battlefield, the Ravenbloom Conservatory, and play the Vi and try to hold out, see if he can counter a spell and hold that battlefield for the win. I think that's the only line that Cade's got at this point. But yeah, this last game coming down to a close one. Wow, good job, guys. This is going to be really exciting to see who wins this one. I think my heart's rooting for Cade, but I can't help but feel like he doesn't quite have it here, knowing that we've got so much interaction and denial, spell denial in Jordan's hands. Thousand Tail Watcher is going to be able to beat over anything that he gets at this point, I think, as well, too. So, this is just kind of a feels bad, man, knowing that Cade has to stare a Watcher in hand. But I really disagree with this, Cade. I think you need to move up everything on that battlefield. Jordan's going to go up to 7 on this turn here, and you have to prevent the double conquer. There's nothing else you should be doing here. That Vi. Oh no. I mean, ultimately, we know that he's got Thousand Tail Watcher in hand, so it doesn't matter, but...
Every single time. So you just...
And there she is. Thousand Tail Watcher comes down. She will come down for accelerated. Cade reveals the hard bargain, and that is game 3. GG, guys. That was an epic one. Thank you for playing here tonight, guys. Thank you again for hanging out with me today. If you like Riftbound, make sure to do the thing. So that does it for our first top 8 match. We have an Irelia versus Leona coming up in our top 4 match. Stay tuned. We'll see you then.
Captain